I'll take a moment and just welcome everyone real quick, and then I'll turn it over to Bart to welcome our wonderful guest today. And I'm Brad Edwards. You're relatively new, almost, a little over 3 weeks into the saddle now as your CEO for NFL Alumni, and Bart hasn't run me off yet. So, but it's been a great pleasure to work with Bart and everyone else here that's on the call, Chrissy and Wilma and Dominic and all the others at the national office. Been such a pleasure to serve all of you in this capacity, and I hope to get out and see all of you wherever possible, and appreciate you so much for all that you've done to help make what our experience has been through the NFL into just one amazing experience, and we do have to serve all of you in this capacity. So with that said, I'm going to run the speed option over to Bart Oates and let him take it away.
Thank you, Brad, and it's a pleasure to be working with you. Thank you for coming on board and helping us take this organization to the next level. I think that everybody that's observed this organization knows that we've made some significant strides in the last few years in really fulfilling that mission, that primary mission of caring for our own. And we will, I know, with your insight and your vision, that we'll continue that and even go further than we ever thought we could. And this, what we're here for tonight, is part of that mission, part of that vision that we've had and that we're pursuing. And it's not by accident that this month is National Diabetes Awareness Month. And as most people know, that diabetes and obesity is very closely aligned. And about 3 years ago, we started this program with the funding of Novo Nordisk. We call HULTO, H-U-L-T-O, Huddle Up, Let's Talk Obesity. And thank John Carlucci for being the pioneer in this and really the visionary. And I'd like to thank Russ Allen for joining and participating and organizing our Wellness Challenge. But as such, it's a message that we want to provide for our members. That particularly us linemen, but it's not limited to just linemen who have issues after we finish our playing. I have a few running backs that I played with. I look at them, and I'm not people look at them, not sure if they played running back or if they were a lineman. But so it's an issue that is, and it's not just football players, right? It's an epidemic proportions around our country, and so it's a topic that's worth pursuing, worth discussing, and what we'd like to say, the way we like to phrase it, is that obesity is it's not a character flaw, it's a medical condition. And so regardless of how it may have occurred, it's a medical condition. We treat it as such, and in doing so, it's a positive approach, one that where there is a lot of help, and there's a lot of ways of addressing and attacking this issue. And so we are committed to pursuing this dialogue and to raise awareness amongst our own, amongst those who played. And so appreciate each of you for being on and being able to, those who are going to participate tonight. Thank you so much, Reggie Brown and Michael Faulkner and Richard Walker, who former players, and we appreciate your willingness and your courage to step forward and to be a voice to be heard. And with that, I think I'm going to introduce Russ Allen. Russ has been working with me in particular. We've done when I was a chapter president of the New York, New Jersey chapter, we actually ran a wellness challenge. And when we were discussing these types of events with Novo Nordisk and some of the things that we were interested in pursuing, that his name came to my mind, and He's been integral the last couple of years in working with us to make sure that we have the best wellness challenge possible. And it's the wellness challenge is it's the action, right? We have the dialogue, but action is let's do something about it. And that's what the challenge is all about, is doing something about that message and doing it firsthand. Instead of just talking about it, let's walk the walk as well. And so Russ is our director for our Wellness Challenge, and we appreciate everything you do, Russ. John as well. And Russ, I'm going to turn it over to you for the remainder of our evening, for the remainder of this hour, and I'll have you introduce the topic for our webinar tonight. Thank you.
Just want to reach out to Susan and John and thank them for really giving us the support to make this happen. What we're excited about is the Wellness Challenge has begun to change lives, and that's been our goal. So tonight I've asked a couple of our participants, 3 of them, Reggie, Michael, and Richard, to share their experiences. And I've asked Dr. Greg Natello, who in his adolescence experienced type 2 diabetes, and because of his coach named Mom, was able to get on top of his wellness and was able to lose the weight necessary. And so he'll be sharing his experience as well.
So I'll try to keep this brief, but hit the major points. I too, once, finished, was up and down with weight, and I had got up to way above 300 and was really struggling. And it was right about that time that the New York State Health Foundation came to me and said, hey, we want to do a campaign on diabetes, and we want to approach it from where people live, work, or worship. And I took the worship piece. And so we launched a campaign throughout the state of New York to reach thousands and thousands of congregations. Didn't matter what faith, as long as they were faith congregations, because what we discovered was people trust faith leaders, if they were part of that community, and with a message of diabetes management, prevention, diabetes awareness, management, and prevention. And we help people to know their numbers, to reduce their numbers, and control their numbers. But a funny story on the way to do that, where we were doing a press conference in the state capitol. If anybody's been to state capitol in New York, it's long hallways, and they don't have any of the little motorized walkways. And literally, I was a little late for this press conference. I come in on the train and take the cab to the capitol, and I'm running, trying to run, hustling down to this press conference. By the time I get to the press conference, I looked like I was about ready to have a coronary. They wouldn't even put in it. They were like, is this guy okay? Do we need to call somebody? It was horrible. I was sweating, sweat was all over the place. And I knew then that I had to not only teach, but to take, the learnings that I was going to be sharing and make it happen. And long story short, we were able to reduce. I started walking, then started running. And by God's grace, I was able to run 4 marathons, and can still believe I've got another one in me, but not this year. But the message of diabetes. So I discovered that, first of all, as an African American male, I was 5 times more likely to lose a limb or an appendage than any other group because of diabetes. I was 5 times more likely to lose my vision because of diabetes. So diabetes, it affects, and it's one of those hidden silent killers, because we think, it's inevitable, it's part of our DNA. Well, the truth of the matter is type 2 diabetes is reversible. And began to have that happen. And so we were able to, at the end of our time, we trained 250 community health workers in New York State with a faith-based diabetes program. And we had 3,000 people go through a 6-week program, and 85% actually completed all 6 weeks. We saw lives saved. And by that, I mean, there were several sessions where people called in and said, man, this was crazy because we were just going through the symptoms and this person didn't know they had diabetes. And, you know, they get to the hospital, they're having episodes and so forth. And so the awareness was everything, but we are part of a community of the NFL alumni community, and we care for our own. And this message of prevention, management, and good health is one that we share with each other. So, now being part of the Wellness Challenge, I'm coaching others on. I'm still on this weight loss journey. I'm still heading in the right direction. Thank God. Every time I go to the doctor, he says, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?" I tell him, "Well, I'm doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I'm mostly doing that to keep it moving in the right direction." But the Wellness Challenge has put a little bit of gaming or competition into the mix, and it helps me to help other people, and that's a real motivator. To be honest, it's a real motivator. So we've got some teams around us, so I'm excited to be part of this journey.
Nikki, I just wanted to briefly say it's nice to meet everyone I work with, Lee Woodall in the Philadelphia chapter, and it's nice to see everybody. I just want to thank you so much for this. I come from a healthcare background. I've lost over 100 pounds myself. My dad died last year with one limb. His leg was missing. He lost several fingers and his foot was missing on the other side. So when I tell you this is serious, and I appreciate what you're doing. I know we work very closely with Lee as well on health and wellness, but I just want to thank all the physicians. I've worked with a healthcare organization for many years, insurance, working on specifically health disparities. And education is key. It is absolutely key. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to as you're doing this, to continue to keep this data, because once you have this data drives everything. So as we were asking these men to fill out these applications, these men taking the challenges, as Reggie has done, documenting these facts would bring you your American Diabetes, would bring you continue to bring you CDC, because we know funding helps get messaging out, and making sure that people the players continue to talk and give testimonials, because unfortunately, gentlemen, there's not too many people women on the line. Men do not like to go to the doctors. And I know Dr. Nutella will tell you that because of fear, right? Unfortunately, you have to be killed over somewhere or going through something detrimental. But when they see their football players who have retired and changed their lifestyle based on simply changing very small things in their lives, I'm telling you, you're talking about viral, or you're talking about really putting out a message, you're talking about marketing, it's everything above. So I just want to thank you so much for the work you're doing, and continue to put forth this message and keep that data. Data is driven. I work with a doctor who specializes in Abington Foundation of diabetic health amongst men. And I'm telling you, Philadelphia has the highest amputee rate in the state, and they're amongst African-American men. So I just want you to continue to push forth this. So thank you again.
Ross, you and Bart and everybody's participated have done an incredible job. You've helped a lot of people. And just tell you very briefly my background, that when I was a child, it was very difficult. I was obese. And then as a teenager, working on an ice cream truck, of course, I actually was started on insulin. And my parents, Barbara and a waitress, went crazy over that. And even at that time, put me on my mom's eating program, and actually cured my diabetes. And I have been an athlete my whole life. I played at Gettysburg College, not where the kind of place where most of you did D1 places, but very proud that I did well at Gettysburg College, and also then struggled with obesity as well. And then from a South Philadelphia guy, I don't know how it happened, but God sent me to the Cleveland Clinic, which was the greatest place in the world. and it is the greatest place in the world, other than the NFL Alumni Association, of course. And then I was privileged to become a cardiologist, and I put stents in everything. I would pay Russ it in the middle of the night to say, Russ, come on, I'll call the cath lab in, let me practice, put a stent in. But one day I realized that I could put all the stents in the world in, but people were still left with the disease, the underlying disease that necessitated me to put a stent in the first place, that I really wasn't getting to the root cause, what was driving the underlying disease. Back to the Cleveland Clinic led me to really get back to my passion of physiology and really look for root causes of things that drive and contribute to disease. And so that made my forte metabolic disease. So that's kind of where I got here, with my athletic background, with my past medical history, with my education, and with my tenacity to really reach out to get to what drives chronic disease. And I will just say very briefly that you all are a very articulate group. I've learned a lot just from listening to you. And I will say briefly, prediabetes is a big deal. 1 out of 2 US adults have either prediabetes or diabetes. Now, the problem when you guys say diabetes, when we say prediabetes, you're already developing the same complications as if you had that arbitrary number definition whereby you were diagnosed with diabetes, as the doctor said. But prediabetes, in my mind, scientifically, is the same thing as diabetes. You're already developing the same complications. And that's why even when I screen people, I do things like a fasting insulin, et cetera, or oral glucose tolerance test to really get ahead of the prediabetes thing. This is really an epidemic disease, and chronic disease affects 6 out of 10 Americans. Can you believe that? 6 out of 10 Americans, 4 out of 10 Americans have more than one chronic disease. And chronic disease in America accounts for 95% of healthcare expenditures. A big piece of that chronic disease, of course, is obesity, diabetes, and all the things that come along with that. We're talking about heart disease, premature death, stroke, 13 cancers, postmenopausal breast cancer, believe it or not. And right now, obesity is the #1 preventable cause for dementia. So we're also talking about brain and cognitive decline, as well as mental health issues. And on average, people that have obesity, again, not to even mention your arthritis, but people lose 10 to 15 years of life. And as someone had said previously, the goal here is to prevent and reverse diabetes, to prevent these complications, to prolong not just longevity, how long you're alive, but your health span, how long you're alive and feeling good. The whole point here is to bring wellness to someone and improve function and help them function at their best. Obesity now kills more people far more than cigarette smoking, and that I don't want to get too into the physiology, but I view obesity and diabetes as manifestations of chronic system-wide inflammation. And that's why, for example, if we all measure our waist size or we do our waist to hip ratio, we can tell how far we are on the inflammatory spectrum. For example, when our waist is too big and we have an increased waist to hip ratio, for example, that means that we have this new organ of bad inflammatory fat in our abdomen that is throwing out bad humors everywhere. We call them inflammatory cytokines. No one has to do this alone. And Russ said that wonderfully last year, that this is a chronic disease. It's an epidemic in America and worldwide, and no one has to go through this alone. There's help available. We can make it available. And with the team spirit, the team mentality, that's what it takes. to all support and raise one another.
So with that, I wanted to share with have Richard Walker, who I met at the Radio Row. He was on his way to get a bunch of chips, and I'm gonna leave it there. Richard, you take it.
So yeah, actually, that's how Russ and I met. I'm in media, so I was actually covering the Super Bowl on Press Row, and I'm up in the hosting area, the green room, whatever you want to call it, where they have all the snacks and stuff. And I'm hoarding snacks, chips, cookies, all the wonderful goodies. And I got piles of stuff in my pocket, and I got my arms full of goodies and stuff. And I just glance out of my eye, and I see this guy, and I just kind of caught a glimpse of his shirt, and I just caught a peek of the NFL logo. I was like, uh-oh, they're gonna come tell me that I'm being too greedy, taking too many snacks. And so he comes over, and we just have a conversation, and just a very casual conversation, and it ended up with us talking about weight, which I was already struggling with this for so many years after putting the cleats down. The hardest thing for a lot of us, and it's just not players. This is life itself. There's no greater saying that football is life, because the same thing is true for the everyday person. When they raise kids and those kids grow up and go away from college, you have an empty nest. What's next? So that's the big question for all of us, was what's next? So I was definitely struggling with that part. And of course, the weight comes with that. You have your health related issues, the gout attacks, the high blood pressure, the arthritis, the joint pains, the sleepless nights, all of that comes with it. And I was definitely struggling within myself to find a solution. And so when Russ and I talked about the program, I was ready to go. And, I've taken the program under my wing, and it's inspired me to learn more about myself, and really helped me to blossom in the program. And then to me, the selfish benefit that I get, because I call it selfish because I enjoy it, is that when you see that inspiration that you provide for others, when you're able to be that beacon of light for that person when they're in a very difficult place, when they don't know what's next. And, you speak to them and you tell them about your experiences and all that you've gone through, and let them know that, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you're the one that's pulling them toward the light. It's a very satisfying feeling that you just can't get anywhere else. So, the challenge itself has been phenomenal for me. I'm knocking on 90 pounds. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm knocking on 90 pounds lost on the program. And, I'm going to continue pushing and continue to, inspire and motivate and coach others. So
tell them about MapTick, because
yes,
it's a whole training regime that you're developing for coaches, and I would love you.
Yeah. So MapTick is not a new concept. It's just basically a derivative of what we all went through as players. And I think back on how we all got to the level of being professionals, is that we were coached to success. And there are different layers to that coaching model. You have to motivate, you have to show appreciation, you have to provide the resources, you have to teach, you have to inspire, and most importantly, you have to correct, because you have to have someone that's there to show you what's right and what's wrong. Where a lot of people fail is that they're motivated, but they're not disciplined. They may be motivated and disciplined, but they're not informed. They may be motivated, disciplined, and informed, but they're not corrected when they do things wrong. Just think about all the stuff that we see that's promoted as healthy living, healthy choices. And when you break it down and look and see what's in those meals and things like that, it's actually not very healthy at all. So education is important, correction is important. Getting people to be disciplined and focused, because you can be motivated all you want. If you're not disciplined, it's not going to work. There's going to be days where you're motivated, but your discipline doesn't kick in. You're not going to get the job done, and we all know that. As being athletes, there are a lot of days where we didn't want to practice, we didn't want to work out, we didn't want to go film study, we didn't want to do anything, but we did it because we had the discipline that drove us, and we're able to share that and push that and instill that in people and other people. And the byproduct of that is, they're having longer, healthier lives, man. There's no other reward that's greater than that to me.
So my goal is for Richard to be able to work full time as a trainer of coaches, because he's really taken this to the next level. We're recording kind of his training program, along with some motivational videos by Reggie and by David Blaha. David Blaha, he just recently beat David. Yes. David lost 84 pounds. So yes. Richard created this whole video of him beating him. What was that video? It was who was in it? Was McCaffrey?
Or DJ Metcalf, yeah.
Metcalf, yeah. It was so good. So this is the kind of thing that's coming out of the Wellness Challenge. Downtown Reggie Brown, where are you? We want you
to be alive.
Put your own emotion and experience and how this has put a new direction to your life. And
well, I tell you, man, I'm so excited. Let me just start by saying, I don't want to blow the phone up. I don't want to be too loud. And I'm trying to step back a little bit because I tell you that, you know, people always want to say, I want to play football. I want to play football. I want to play football too. But as long as they don't really understand what all just football is about. Football is not just about going out there, putting on the uniform, go make $1 million. Because I didn't make $1 million, but I put on the uniform and I played like I ain't had nothing else to do. But when football was over, I kept eating like I was playing. And for a long period of time, I kept in shape. I did what I had to do. But after a while, I was doing a meeting one day and they was checking the blood pressures and, you know, pulse and everything. So they checked my pressure and my sugar and all that. My sugar was 400 and something, man. They said, you need to go to the emergency room right now. I didn't know anything about, you know, sugar and diabetes. I didn't know nothing about that. I was a young man playing football, man. I didn't know nothing about that. This was long after that. But at the same time, when I met you, you introduced me to the wellness program because I had ballooned up to 345 pounds. I was big. I was a running back, man. I played at 206. I was 345. But, you know, I met you, man, and got in touch with the Wellness Challenge. I'm going to tell you right now, when I started this, I was 307. I'm at 260, 264 right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, I got 7 suits in my closet. I took every one of my suits to the tailor and had them taken in. 3 sizes. And I'm going to tell you, I got 7 brand new suits in the closet. The reason why? Because I started listening. I didn't want to hear that before because I'm Reggie Brown. Nothing can beat me, man. I play football. No one can beat me. But you know what? That stuff kicked my butt. I was taking all this and all that. The doctor gave me so much medicine. I didn't want to see them on medicine. But today, I take 3 medicines, and one of them is not for sugar or diabetes. And I'm excited about that. The reason being, not only do I feel good, but I wake up in the morning, I feel rested. I go to bed at night, I sleep good. And I have a good life. You know, and all I want to do, matter of fact, if you look in the dictionary under the word help, you're going to see a picture of my face. Because all I want to do is help somebody. So, you know, for me, if I can help somebody, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm here for, is to help. So when you got something you want me to do, let me know where you want me to be and I'll be there. See at the top, because the bottom is too crowded.
You know, Russ, I have to say, Reggie Brown, thank you, man.
Amen.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Man. And you're living proof. And that's the whole point. No, I can't help myself now, Russ. I have to say this. The enthusiasm and how you feel and feeling well, yes. People get into a way where they don't even remember what it is to feel well. You don't even remember what your playing days felt like or what it felt like in high school. And what Reggie Brown just said is incredible. And again, if not for you, for the people you love and you care about, the last thing, you guys are heroes to kids. And this diabetes, obesity thing is epidemic in kids. So what you do and what you show the world has such impact, it's unbelievable. Thank you, Russ. And thank you. All you guys, you've been so articulate and wonderful. And Mr. Faulkner and Mr. Brown, what all you guys have said has been wonderful. Thank you. I'm inspired.
I got one more
as a doctor with my patients.
I got one more zinger before I do. You know, my own experience. I played junior varsity football I played high school football for 3 years, and I sat the bench. They didn't have a long enough bench, so they just told me to stand at the end, right? I was 130 pounds, and they didn't know what to do with me. But anyway, my dad said, you know, I don't know who they sent home from freshman football, but it wasn't my son. And it was because the teamwork and the experience, and it changed my experience of becoming a man. And one of the most powerful, profound elements of the game of football is that you get knocked down, you learn to get up, it didn't kill you, and you shake yourself off, and you go and you look to do it to somebody else, and you look to prove yourself. And whether you played last string, which is what I was at, or first string, that experience of being on a team where you work together and you can only win as a team. The best thing about this season, by the way, is that two of the greatest quarterbacks don't have a great team around them, and they're not getting anywhere, right? Because it's a team sport. So life is a team sport. One of the things about Novo, they have this campaign, it's bigger than me. And every time I hear that, I go, well, I think about all the people that love me and that want me to live longer. Just what you were saying, Greg. They want me to live longer because they love me, and then my grandkids, my sons, my daughters, they don't want me going anywhere. And the only way that I can do that is to take responsibility. And I need help. I need coaching. I need support. And the beauty of the Wellness Challenge, it gives everyone that kind of support. So then the pay it forward is to become a coach and then be able to take care of others.
The main thing that goes with this program and the correlation between diabetes and obesity is we're all on a path to help other individuals get healthier toward living a longer term, healthier life. And to me, that's the most important thing. So anything we can all do collectively to continue to share that message and stay on point with the alumni mission of taking care of our own and taking care of community. I mean, that's really what it's all about. It's really a privilege just to be associated with.
We're very excited about next year because we're now laying the foundation to go viral with this. Tonight's event was supported by the American Diabetes Association. They pushed it out through their social media campaign. We just met today with the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and we're having a meeting tomorrow with the leadership of the American Diabetes Association to dig deeper in how we create these long-term relationships with other non-for-profits, because we have this alignment. And then lastly is, of course, we're going to be working with the Veterans Administration, because there is no greater parallel, I think, than a soldier who's holding his helmet and a football player who's holding his helmet. And they both faced many of the same challenges, but they also felt that same camaraderie and that same validation of being part of a unit that was willing and able to put themselves in line for the other guy for the success. Obviously, the military is a whole nother level of sacrifice, and we have to always really respect and be grateful for what those men and women have done. But those lessons of living for others and putting it into real action is what is so proud. I'm so proud to have been a football player.
Yeah, it's a real privilege to be associated with this campaign, particularly for us to see the passion behind it and driving to better health for everyone and longer lives and happier situations. So thank you very much for letting me listen in. But everybody's doing such a great job with this campaign. It's marvelous to see all the passion behind wanting to stay healthy and make different changes to live longer, wonderful lives. So thank you very much, all of you legends.
Russ, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody for your participation. Reggie, next time come with a little more energy, please. Love your
Reggie,
passion,
can you come to our group tomorrow morning early, get us cranked up, ready to go?
Exactly. Michael, thank you very much. Richard, appreciate it. Dr. Natello, thank you everyone for participating in this. And it is something that particularly you sense it when you hear about individuals or have experiences that those who are suffering some of these comorbidities that are serious and life-threatening, life-altering. And if we can do something to help just one person, then what we're doing is worthwhile. And so thank you very much, and appreciate everybody's willingness to be part of this and to join in and to share the message.
Join the NFL Alumni Wellness Challenge now.